Here's the build you want to take with you into Season of the Deep. And before we start, I know what a lot of you are thinking. Arc, especially Warlock, kinda sucks, and it did, but that's all about to change. Starting in Season of the Deep, your arc grenades will charge quicker, and when amplified you will gain damage resist and stay amplified for longer. The weapon I suggest has shoot to loot as an option, and this will now be able to pick up orbs of power which feed into this build. As the weapon is arc, it will summon a jolting burst of lightning on final blows. This applies as well to ability final blows so long as you are amplified, which trust me, you will be. Stormcaller Super will also gain a 25% damage increase and ramp up the damage quicker, as well as an additional damage boost from Thunderous Retort. Oh, and any arc mod you want to slot into your armour will only cost 1 energy. So onto the build. The exotic I have settled on is the Crown of Tempests. It provides increased ability regen on ability or jolt kills and extends the length of Storm Trance. The increased access to Jolt and how easy it is to cycle arc abilities has now made this a much better option over other arc based exotics such as Fallen Sunstar and Geomag stabilizers. And one of the easiest ways to access Jolt is through using any weapon with a perk Volt Shot. I have chosen to go with Path of Least Resistance. There's a few reasons for this. First, Trace Rifles are featured as an overload champion counter. It can be used in a double special loadout which outputs much better damage than a traditional 1 primary 1 special. It can blind nearby targets on any enemy defeated. And finally, Jolt applied from this weapon will have a higher damage scaler against bosses than other primary weapons. But I understand that it is not as readily available after Season of the Seraph, so for alternatives, Ikelos SMG can roll with exactly the same perks. The iterative loop is available with Volt Shot if you still want to run double special. The heavy and kinetic slot is adaptable to the activity. Run weapons such as the Hothead or Grand Overture with Witherhoard for boss DPS and Thunderlord and Riptide for general content. So on boss DPS, one of the major complaints about Storm Trance is it's not really a good super for it. And while it will be improved in Season of the Deep, putting its overall damage at around 500k, it still leaves it in the middle of a pack and it also takes a while to use. On the other hand, this super is now insane for clearing large groups of enemies, and this is what it should be used for. A small tip is that orbs generated from a Spark of Amplitude can still be picked up by yourself during super. Use these alongside the leg armour better already to sustain your health. For boss damage you have access to increased damage pulse grenades. You also can provide your whole team with Arc Souls, and it just so happens the strongest DPS weapons in the game are also Arc, so stacking triple surge is also an option. Outside of DPS rotations, the general gameplay loop of Arc Warlock is getting the most out of jolting abilities and creating Ionic Tracers to get them back very quickly. Ionic Tracers will be no issue due to the aspect Electrostatic Mind, which generate them on any enemies defeated, caused by arc abilities, Jolt or Blind. Oh, and on Blind, it's a great method to make harder content much easier by simply stopping enemies from shooting back at you. What more could you possibly want? And this is normally done by disorienting grenade launchers or blinding grenades. But with this build there is a much easier option. Equip Spark of Beacons and any arc special weapon, such as the previously mentioned Path of Least Resistance, and it will trigger a blinding explosion on any enemy defeated. You will notice this instantly in higher enemy density activities, and it can get you out of a bad situation easily. Another great passive effect on Arc is the ability to generate extra orbs using the Spark of Amplitude, where rapid defeats will spawn an extra orb of power. Think of this as a Siphon mod, but it stacks independently with Siphons, meaning you can spawn 2 or more orbs from a single enemy defeated. If you ever want proof of this working, check the orbs created at the end of any activity. I guarantee you will lead by a large margin. Finally, for remaining build choices, we have the Aspect Arc Soul, which gives you an Arc buddy on each rift cast. You can also give these buddies to your teammates who stand in the rift. Stacking these across a fire team can give surprising extra damage, and it's just as easy as activating your class ability. For remaining fragments, go with Spark of Shock to allow grenades to jolt enemies, Spark of Magnitude to increase the duration of these grenades. While using Pulse Grenades, Magnitude allows for 7 damage in bursts instead of a regular 5. If you feel you want more survivability, you can swap out any of these grenade boosting fragments for Spark of Resistance, which will provide you with resist ×2 when surrounded by enemies. So what armor mods will we want for this build? It's important to remember any arc based mods will only cost 1 energy in Season 21, making build crafting much more flexible. In the helmet slot, you want at least 1 copy of both Arc Siphon and Ashes to Assets. Gloves and boots can be built in 2 ways. Either Arc Loader and Firepower in the gloves with triple Arc Surge slotted into the boots, or double Grenade Kickstart in the gloves and double Stacked Innovation in the boots. For chest mods, run Charged Up and Arc Reserves with your choice of a damage resist mod, and for a class item it should contain both Reaper and Bomber. I will also include a dim link in the description and comments which will instantly equip all of these mods. So that's just about everything. I didn't think I'll be recommending Arc Warlocks just a few weeks ago, but now this looks very promising and there may never be a better time to use this class to its full potential.